Danfo offers unparalleled, curated and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshi traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danfo, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danfo, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danfo, Africa. To learn more, visit danfo.africa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. Thank you all. Thanks so much for joining us. Please hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Let me adjust this without ruining it. There we go. There we go. Again, please hit that like button. Make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Y'all, come on up in the chat. Come and join us. You know, we'd love for you to come up in here and sit down and chill out. And chill out for tonight's conversation. But before we get started, oh, hey, come on, AJ. No, listen, AJ. Listen, I know I'll get you. Now, I know Nigeria's not perfect, but come on, AJ. Like, you wouldn't come to America without a visa. Like, you would not book your ticket. You would not come to America if you didn't have a visa or citizenship to America, or American or U.S. passport or your visa. You wouldn't book your ticket and come. That's just common sense. So I got to come on Al Gore's internet and defend the great Nigerian immigration services. I have to come and defend Nigeria immigration. I got to defend them on this one. On this one, you got to defend them. But before we get there, before we go there, please visit donfo.africa. Again, please visit donfo.africa. We are rolling. Where are you rolling to, Dynasty? We are rolling back to Cape Town next month. Not next month. In March 25th through April 2nd. March 25th through April 2nd, we are rolling to Cape Town for the Jazz Festival. So if you are interested in joining us in Cape Town for the Jazz Festival, please visit donfo.africa. Again, please visit donfo.africa. And I just want to acknowledge AJ in the chat room, who has been on several of our trips. He just was on our last trip to Namibia and Cape Town. So please visit donfo.africa to learn more. We will love to host you all. Also, we're rolling to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival in St. Louis. That is May 9th to the 18th. Then we're going to Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. That's August 9th to the 18th. Then we're rolling to Zanzibar in September. That's September 20th to the 29th. And then in November, we are rolling to we're doing Ghana and Ivory Coast in November. So if you're interested in joining us, please visit donfo.africa. And yes, I am about to defend Nigerian immigration. I am going to defend Nigerian immigration on this one. But this is my first question. Before I play the video by Swaggy Mo. Shout out to Swaggy Mo. Great content creator. Shout out to Swaggy Mo. Great content creator. But my immigrant family, I got a question for you. So this is my US passport. This is my Nigerian passport. This is my Sierra Leonean passport. For my immigrant family, I'll run into a lot of you guys. AJ is exempt. But the majority of my immigrant family who are citizens here in America, you do not carry the passport of your home country. Why? I run into a lot of immigrants, black immigrants, who do not have the passport to the country where they were born in or came from, immigrated from. I don't get that. Like, I don't get that. When I go to when I travel to, we'll just say, Nigeria, or since we're going to Sierra Leone, actually we're going to Sierra Leone on Saturday. So when I go to Nigeria, when I go to Sierra Leone on Saturday, I leave my US passport, I put it in my bag. When I get to the airport, Dulles Airport, in fact, here in Hartsville, Jackson. When I get to Hartsville Jackson, I use this passport to go through security, everything. I get to Dulles, I use this passport right here. I keep this passport. My US passport stays in my bag, my check-in bag. Then when I leave Sierra Leone, when I go to check in, that's when I pull my US passport out, because this shows that I can enter the country legally. Then when I get the passport control, I got to show them this passport, because the passport I got stamped in on is the passport I also got to get stamped out on. But you have no idea. I know a lot of immigrants that do not have their country's passport that they immigrated from. So yeah, I'm gonna defend Nigerian Immigration Services, NIS. I gotta defend the NIS department. Gotta defend them. So the great thing about having an ECOWAS passport. So this is the ECOWAS passport. I can enter to ECOWAS countries visa free. Nigeria, pretty much the whole West Coast, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry. Then it goes, well, of course, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana. After Ghana, Togo, Benin Republic, Nigeria. Then at one time, it also included Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. I still think you can go to those countries visa free with ECOWAS passport, but they're not technically part of ECOWAS anymore. So my brother Swaggy Mo, I think he's Gambian or Senegalese. Why don't you have a Senegalese or Gambian passport? Like, why don't you have a Senegalese or Gambian passport? Because you have a Senegalese or Gambian passport, you could enter Nigeria visa free. Just show them this, you're good to go. But I'm telling you, I run into a lot of black immigrants that don't have the passports of the country that they immigrated from. Also, too, you can't you got to follow the rules. Again, I know some of y'all are like, okay, these countries, they immigration departments be tripping, but you got to follow the rules. I mean, you got to do the basics. You got to, if the country says, you got to have a visa to enter the country, then you got to have a visa to enter the country. And if you only have a U.S. passport, I mean, we use Swaggy Mo as the example. They gonna treat you like you an American. You can't come in there saying I'm Senegalese. Again, you can't come in there saying that I'm Senegalese. And you have an American passport. You ain't got a Senegalese passport. You American. In their eyes, you are American. Can't come in there saying you Senegalese. So he was headed to Nigeria, didn't have a visa, said he was treated like crap. And they told him they shipped him back. So he wasn't deported. He was just refused entry. There's a difference. He wasn't deported. He was just refused entry. There's a big difference. But yeah, if he had a Senegalese passport, he's good to go. The visa free. Good to go. But anyways, I'm gonna play this video, and then we'll circle back.
Mixed reactions.
Wow, commercial.
Ever in my life, and it wasn't just because I don't think I will ever step foot in Nigeria again for the rest of my life if I can avoid it. I just got deported from Nigeria, and it was the most.
You weren't deported, sir. You didn't have a visa. And again, my question is, why don't you have your Senegalese passport? And you showed up to Nigeria with just a U.S. passport. You American. You ain't Senegalese in their eyes. You American. So you didn't get deported. You just refused entry because you didn't have a valid visa.
Dehumanizing, humiliating experience ever in my life, and it wasn't just because I was getting deported, but it's because how I was treated.
And during the few moments that we have left, we want to have just an off-the-cuff chat.
Hey guys, make sure you subscribe to Diaspora Theory. Again, make sure you subscribe to Diaspora Theory, you guys.
Between you and me.
Welcome back to another video, guys. This is the Diaspora Theory, where we discuss the dynamics, relations, and interactions between the diaspora. My name is Simone, and today we are in the business of Swaggy Mo, a Senegambian who quite recently traveled to Nigeria, only for his trip to be cut short. He gives us a play-by-play for the entire story, so I'm going to let that run and then give my 2 cents afterwards. Here we go.
But listen, Swaggy Mo is coming to Nigeria. Swaggy Mo is coming to Nigeria. So link up. And then also on top of that, I'm trying to have like a fundraising event, if possible, to like an orphanage or anything of that sort. If there's anybody, so all the Alajis in Abuja, you know what I'm saying? Link up. Let's make it happen. You get what I'm saying?
Second question on this that is big circle for people.
And it's absolutely breaking my heart that I have to make this video, because if you know me, you know my love for Nigerians really like go deep, bro. Like, A country that doesn't get the flowers that it rightfully earned and deserved is Nigeria. Listen, I'm obsessed with Nigerians to like an unhealthy level. Like I love Nigerians so much. The creativity, the tenacity, the drive. Nigerians are built differently. Listen, I just went to Harvard for a speaking engagement. When I tell you, everybody I met, what's your name? Nkechi, what's your name? Adeola, what's your name? Oluwafemi. I'm like, I felt like I was at a Nigerian convention or something, which proves what I always knew to be true. Nigerians are just the definition of excellence. I even feel the need to like apologize to like my Nigerian colleagues and like just like all the people from Nigeria that really support me, you know, like I truly champion for Africa, bro. You know what I'm saying? And to get treated like that on African soil, like Nigeria was always
No. See, we gotta not put no. This is how it works with ECOWAS. All right, even if you're traveling by a vehicle by land, even if you're traveling by land, you at the very least have to have an ID. So if you're traveling by land throughout ECOWAS countries, you could from country to country with at least an ID. If you're traveling by air, visa free. If you're traveling by air, and again, you have to have an ECOWAS a ID from an ECOWAS country. So, prime example: if I'm going from Nigeria through any ECOWAS country by road, I can do it with my EIN number. My EIN, you guys know the EIN ID. If you have, I have my Nigerian driver's license now, so I would just use my Nigerian driver's license. Or you use your EIN ID card thing. People know what I'm talking about. If you're traveling by air, you have to have a passport. If you're traveling from country to country throughout ECOWAS to pass through visa free, you have to have a passport. Yeah, that's that EIN. I mean NIN. I'm sorry. I'm thinking the tax ID number that they give you here in America. NIN. I apologize. I'm sorry. NIN. Your NIN. You use your NIN ID to pass through West African countries visa free by road if you're going by road. Or I have my Sierra Leone driver's license. I can use that as well. If you're traveling by air throughout the ECOWAS countries, you want to go from ECOWAS country and ECOWAS country by air, visa free, you got to have an ECOWAS passport for one of the ECOWAS countries. So Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, and at one time you have Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. That's just how it is. You can't say, "Hey, I'm West African." Let me in. But what's interesting is was he able to board the plane without the visa or visa pre-approval? So what they do now in Nigeria, you have a new e-visa. So there's a site you go to, you pay, and you're supposed to have your visa within 48 hours. Supposed to. But you fire off a couple emails, you'll get your visa pre-approval. And that's online. It's called the e-visa. Well, no. And Nigel, you said his homeboy already took care of it. So you know what? Swaggy Mo needs to holler at his homeboy who said he took care of the visa. That's who Swaggy Mo needs to holler at too. His homeboy who allegedly said he took care of the visa. Oluwa Jabber 8659, thank you for the 5,000 naira. I appreciate you. I'm gonna get me a Origin beer with that if that's enough. But hey, count it all joy. It's gonna go towards the Origin beer when I come to Niger. So let's get back to it.
Is the #1 country on my travels list, more than I wanted to even go back to Senegal and Gambia. Like, I swear, like, Nigeria is so rich in culture, tradition, and history, and I've always wanted to experience that. I always wanted to submerge myself within that, and I feel like that was robbed of me, not just because of the deportation, but because of like how traumatic the whole experience was and how some of these people were speaking. I'm just like, I don't ever want to have to deal with this again for the rest of my life. So a friend of mine was getting married in Abuja and was like, "Yo, Mo, pull up to my wedding. Like, don't worry about airfare, whatever. I'll pay for all that." So he was basically taking care of everything. So I was like super excited. I've had this thing where like in every African country I go to, I always want to go to like an orphanage and figure out like, you know, how I can contribute or anything of that sort. So I was like, yo, let me figure out what I can do to give back to the people of Nigeria. So I spent thousands and thousands of dollars of my own money and just was already making connections with people that are out there on the grounds and like figuring out how to like get the fundraiser going and everything. And I feel like also like just the way that charity is done in Africa it can be very dehumanizing. And I just want to kind of like change how that is done in a sense. As I got to the airport, they were asking me like, what's my visa? And I'm like, oh, the person that invited me like took care of it. But it's because the system in Nigeria was down. They didn't.
That's who it needs to holler at. Number one, they shouldn't have let him on a plane because he didn't have the visa. Number two, the guy who said was taking care of it, he kind of, yeah. Was it let them out to dry? Is that the same? Let them out to dry? Left them hanging? But that's not how it works. If his friend was taking care of the visa, it's a phone call. You call somebody in immigration, you pay them, and they send you a visa pre-approval. It's a phone call. Because the thing is, I don't know how his friend who invited him could handle the process online he can if he has Swaggy's passport information, US passport information. He could have paid for everything. But the thing is, even if he would have paid for everything, he could have sent Swag. Oh, but the system was allegedly down. Okay. Because he could have sent all this could have been avoided if he could have at the very least sent Swaggy a receipt of payment or his contacts information to immigration and sent it to Swaggy when he got there. Hey, this is my homeboy. This is his connect. Here's the receipt. This is the connect. Made a phone call. All that could have been handled. So that's why I'm kind of confused.
Get any like update or anything of that sort. So I had to make an application at the airport and I got the confirmation that the application was submitted. So I thought that once I get to Nigeria, I would get the approval letter, or at least there's something that I can like,
figure out confirmation.
But that wasn't the case. I got to Nigeria and they were like, oh, your visa's still not approved, but the system is down. We can't even check it. And they took me to an office and I was talking to this one guy and his shift ended and he left. And I was there by myself. Legit, nobody was giving me information, nothing. I was hungry, thirsty, nothing, bro. I even got outside one time trying to speak to somebody and the guy legit ignored me to the point where somebody had to look at him and be like, yo, respond to him. And he was like, what do you want? Like, he was like, just go back over there. I'm just like, that was so disrespectful. I was legit just trying to get an update on what was happening. Mind you, like people walking around, but you don't even know who's in immigration.
Let me say this. So I was just in Nigeria mid-November. Hold on, let me show you something. So guys, with Nigeria, when you're dealing with issues like this, the best thing to do is just chill. And the reason why I say that, so this is my drone. I travel with my drone. So when I was about to board my flight, Delta Airlines back to Atlanta, they were saying that I couldn't take my drone or they had to get approval. So same thing. They walked me to some office in some hallway, dark, unlit hallway in an office. And all I can do was sit down and chill. Man, like you said, people were coming in and out. They don't wear uniforms. And there's really nothing you can do. You got to just chill out. So I just chilled out. I might ask a question here and there, like, hey, you know, just want to get an update. I'm flying out soon. But you got to just be calm. You got to chill out. Then finally, somebody came, or they made a phone call, and they were like, "So my drone is a mini drone. So I think the size limit is anything under 249 grams. So anything under 249 grams, you could fly with on the airline. Anything above, you can't. You got to have a special permit." So on my drone, it said 249. I said, okay, have a nice day. They escorted me back to, Delta Airlines. We're boarding, and that was it. But in situations like this, the best thing you can do is just chill out. Don't get upset. Don't be like this lady. Now, and not saying that this is what Swaggy Mo did. Hold on. Where's this right here? Don't be like this lady right here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can find this. Oh, I think this is the lady. Is this the lady right here? Hold on, I gotta hold on. I got here goes. This is a long video, but don't be this lady right here. See, this is not how you react. And shout out to Sassy Funke. Shout out to her. Well, let me finish this video with Swaggy Mode, and I'll play the other video.
Officer or not. Some people are in plain clothing. Some people are sewing their badge. Some people are. Well, it was just so chaotic. After hours of waiting at the Lagos airport, their senior official finally came in, and he was even more dismissal. Just legit was like, "Oh, we sending you back." Within 5 to 10 minutes of him coming, I was already being escorted back to go to the Delta gate for the next flight that was out. So the flight happened to basically like.
Delta gate. So he flew direct from Atlanta. Well, you know what? Actually, no. If he's going back to the Delta gate, if he flew Delta, he flew direct from Atlanta. Because I want to say this time of the year, there's a seasonal flight from JFK on Delta to Lagos. I think it's like from mid or end of November through like early February. So he either flew out of New York if that seasonal route is going on, or he flew out of Atlanta. He flew Delta. He flew out of Atlanta. Direct. 12 hours. Golly. That's a 12-hour flight. So he flew a 12-hour direct flight just to be refused entry. But again, I don't understand how he got on a plane. Well, let's continue. And because of that, I want to say Nigeria could fine. They can actually fine Delta Airlines for allowing him on that plane.
Be late or the door was closed by the time we got there. And they wanted me to stay in their office, bro, for 24 hours. The next flight was 24 hours away. I had to pay out of my own pocket to go get a lounge so I can eat and shower or even get like a beverage, but nothing was offered to me. And it's crazy because some of the shopkeepers that were there, like, were just so nice, so cute. They always were looking out for me, asking me, "Oh, do you want anything? Do you want any food?" Like, always checking to make sure that I was good. And mind you, there were people that were on the same flight as me that would come, and people in regular clothes would come and legit, no badge, no nothing, come escort them all the way before you even reach the passport control. They would come escort them from there. They didn't even scan their passport. And some of the immigration officers were in my face talking about, and they saying, "Oh, Nigeria is corrupt," basically saying that like, "Oh, I guess we ain't so corrupt." But I'm just like, what everybody else?
Hey, Atlanta, guys, let me say this. In fact, let me blow myself up. Hartsfield-Jackson Airport is the best airport in the world. Somebody in the chat room's hating, saying Atlanta Airport is a beast. It's wild up in there. Hartsfield-Jackson Airport is the best airport in the world. I'm sorry, it's the best airport in the world. Period. End of argument. Hartsfield-Jackson Airport is the best, most convenient, has the best food airport in the world in a discussion. You ain't gonna hate on Hartsville Jackson.
Also, what does that have to do with me? And get this, even the next day that I was getting processed, right in front of my face, the Delta employee was telling the immigration officer, "Oh, good job. Good. I'm another African man just like you, bro. The blue passport that I carry don't mean nothing, bro. At the end of the day, like have some respect and have some dignity in the way that you treat people." He was just like, "Oh, good job. Oh, you guys are finally doing a good job." I'm just like, saying, "Oh, Nigeria is corrupt," basically saying that like, "Oh, I guess we ain't so corrupt." But I'm just like, what does what everybody else what does that have to do with me? And get this, even the next day that I was getting processed, right in front of my face, the Delta employee was telling the immigration officer, "Oh, good job. Good. I'm another African man just like you, bro. The blue passport that I carry don't mean nothing, bro. At the end of the day, like have some respect and have some dignity in the way."
And Mo, that's the problem. You only have the blue passport. Where's your Gambian or Senegalese passport, Mo? You got to get the green passport, brother. You got to get your green pass. Well, actually, the Senegalese passport I think is red. You got to get the red passport, bro.
Way that you treat people. He was just like, "Oh, good job. Oh, you guys are finally doing a good job." I'm just like, and mind you, this is the same guy that I was trying to upgrade my flight with, and he was just being so dismissal and almost like, "Oh yeah, oh you're gonna fly back in economy because the ticket was economy." So I was gonna upgrade. I upgraded my flight by myself when I was going, and so I was gonna do the same thing when I was coming back. And he was just like, "Oh no, we're gonna fly you. We're gonna send you back in economy." Mind you, I have a Delta status, and I was willing to pay for whatever the upgrade was gonna be because I was flying 18 hours the day before just to sleep at the airport for it's 24 hours just to get right back on another plane. Like I feel so heartbroken because like if you know me, like I really rock with Nigerians like heavy, bro. I never in my life thought I would ever sit down and be making this type of video. Never, ever, ever in my life. But like I'm a big believer in divine order. So maybe it was just not being meant for me to go to Nigeria. But it's just the way I was treated that really broke my heart by people that look exactly like me. I'm not even asking for you to be nice to me. Just be fair. Like, talk to me. Like, I'm a man just like you.
Now, I thought the core or the root problem of this entire scenario was clear, but reading the comments, not everyone arrived at the same conclusion.
This
Mo, this didn't have.
And this is the point I was making. How did he get on that Delta flight without a valid visa? That's the point I'm making. How was he able to get on that flight without a valid visa?
Have to be a 4-part series. In all of this, you still didn't accept accountability for your mistakes. I wonder how Delta let you board a flight without a valid visa in the first place. Making the same post at the airport would have gotten you the help you needed. Nigerians follow you, and someone would have railed around to stand a surety for you. Now I want to pause right there real quick. There are a lot of other comments that follow this similar theme. Whereas the infrastructure and or government around them, there is a low trust. It is a low trust environment. There is low expectancy and there is low honorability in the infrastructure to operate and function in the way it's supposed to work. And that work and or responsibility is then placed on the people to do the work it was designed and meant to do. And I think the key factor in this entire scenario that reflects just how low the trust in the environment is, just how low the faith, the expectancy, and honorability people have in the infrastructure around them is that the system was down and there'd be no way for him to even check a visa. And so with that knowledge, when people still attempt to assert a reason there's something him as a passenger could have done better, emphasizes the normality of inoperability. And it's not the system's job to work as it was designed to, but it's the passenger's job to account for all of its inconsistencies. And the last thing I'll say before I finish reading the comment is that something tells me this isn't the first time that the system has gone down at the airport. And for there to be no contingency plan, for there to be no standard operating procedure to facilitate when the system goes down, other than sending the passenger right back in the same direction they came from, does not reflect strong immigration policies, it reflects a severe lack in management and ability to accommodate the thousands upon thousands of people that are about to travel there for Dirty December. How can your first plan of action and solution be, had you made your video in Nigeria, people would have came and saved you? You don't see the problem? He shouldn't have to do that. Let's finish reading. In any case, okay, I really haven't seen immigration in any country being the nicest people ever, but making this about the whole country is not right. Nigeria does have a strong immigration policy around visas and entry as your experience. However, I understand you would rather document your experience and milk the engagement as a content creator. If you ever choose to come back, follow the due process. If you never come back as you claimed, makes no difference really. I just hope you learn to take accountability for your actions. Selah. That's crazy. Next, if I made a video about all the negative experiences I've had in Nigeria, but I try to focus on the positives because these people are too sensitive when it comes to the realities of their country. I hope you heal from this experience. I'm learning new ways to survive.
Yeah, I just think it just was. This trip wasn't properly planned. That's all. That's all this is. That's all this is. But guys, if you ever run into an issue at the airport in Nigeria or anywhere, don't crash out like this lady right here. Hold on, let me play this real quick. Don't crash out like this, okay?
To building the best, it's gotta be.
Out the sassy folk, guys. Make sure you subscribe to her.
It's soft.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Sassy
Here we go.
on TikTok.
The Chevy Colorado and 430 pound-feet of standard torque.
And the title on this video is Unlawfully Detained for My Delta Emergency Flight. Let's hear this.
So I am here at the airport and they're claiming that I've overstayed my welcome, even though I'm married to a Nigerian.
Okay, so just because you get married to a Nigerian doesn't mean that you could overstay your visa. Again, just because you get married to a Nigerian doesn't mean you can overstay your visa.
I'm here on time and they're going to make me miss my flight. So
let me talk to this. They said that she had overstayed her welcome. And she said, even though I'm married to a Nigerian, let's clarify that. You overstaying and being married to a Nigerian are two completely different things. But let's keep going.
So I'm here. They brought me all the way back to the opposite end of the airport. Did not explain anything.
And that's my point. Hold on. So, guys, a lot of this stuff can be settled. So you overstayed your visa. So number one, I've done that before. I did that before I had my ECOWAS passport. I did that in Togo. And it was a simple conversation like, hey, I overstayed my visa. I'm sorry. Oh, no, this is what happened. I entered the country without getting my passport stamped. And I got to the airport. And it was a simple, this is the fine. Pay this fine. We'll stamp you. You good. And that was it. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Ain't no need to get unruly and start snapping and rolling eyes and bucking eyes and cussing people out. And again, I know Nigeria is not perfect. I know it's not. But there's just certain battles that is just not worth it. Like, I'm not arguing with folks that determine if I can get on a plane or not to get back home. Continue.
To me, did not say anything to me, just walked me back. My flight is boarding and they have yet to say anything. He has my passport, has not spoken, has not said anything to me. My civil rights have been violated.
Lord, civil rights.
No one is explaining anything to me. So therefore, I'm making a documentation to let you know where I am, who I am, and this is the office of where I am. So I will be forwarding this video to the FAA as well as the airline, as well as human civil rights attorneys, because I will be suing.
Okay, so essentially she's saying that she was taken, I guess, towards the immigration offices at the airport and they did not communicate to her or say anything to her. They just took her passport. But it's interesting that was said because she just mentioned at the beginning of the video that they said she had overstayed. So they did communicate to her. But on the other hand, she's sweating a lot. We need to do better with our ACs at the airport, just saying. Yeah, so that was pretty much that video. So the next video I'm going to share with you is this video here.
Correctly. So I am not going to stop recording. I am going to let my attorney know because. Sorry. No, you cannot see my phone. I just told you you cannot see my phone. What do you want to see? What do you want to see? What do you want to see? I am recording what is happening to me. Because let me tell you what the problem is. I came in here on time. I got everything done. I paid my PCR test. I did everything I was supposed to do. I came in. I did it online. Yeah, I did everything. All my stuff was done. Everything was done. Then I get there and I told the guy, this is my first time here, so I don't know where to go. He's yelling at me, just go down there, just go down there. So I walked off and I started to go to the security check. He started yelling at me, telling me, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing that. I told you to go down. I said, how the hell am I supposed to know? I'm asking you where to go. He would not tell me where to go. He was not clear. And this one was not clear. I asked him, what is happening here?
Okay, so maybe there were some communication.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't just, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. You guys want to call in and add to the conversation. You're more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation, but you got to have airport etiquette. You got to have airport decorum. Like certain places, I'm just, you got to just swallow your ego and your pride, and you got to just down, relax, and stay calm. And you can ask questions, but you just got to be calm. And it is what it is. You overstayed your visa, and just because you got married doesn't mean you can't overstay your visa just because you got married. So, guys, link in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, click on the link. Go ahead, Wildflower.
Hi, Dennis. I hope you're doing well.
All is well.
Yeah. Thank you for actually bringing up this topic because it feels like this whole palaver is making Nigeria look bad in a way that actually the country is not at fault. Because what you notice that these examples you've given, it's like there's no accountability on their part, the lady and obviously the gentleman as well, the Senegalese young man. And I think there's an assumption that we don't have rules in Africa or we don't have standards by a lot of people from outside of our continent. So when people do arrive and they come with a lot of entitlement, from what they've heard about Africa and the stereotypes, and then they quickly are shocked that we actually have rules, especially people that do work in government positions. They are going to obviously be a bit of a job's worth, trying to obviously, also exercise power. But in this case, I think Nigeria didn't do anything wrong. There's been a lack of accountability. And I think when he has time to reflect on this, he will realize that might not have been the best approach to release that, to his followers. But yeah, so definitely that's my couple cents on the matter at the moment.
Okay. Awele, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Awele, unmute yourself. All right, going once, going twice, guys. Links in the chat room. Awele, are you there? Like you're muting yourself, you're unmuting yourself. You there?
Yeah, you hear me now? Sorry.
I hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah. You see, the brother, he was wrong, but he don't want to take responsibility for what he did. The government, we know they've been doing a lot of changes since the new president came in. So the reason why some of these changes are there for you to apply for your visa, you have a whole lot of time to apply for a visa, get it approved before you fly, jump on a flight and come in. Visa on arrival has been cancelled. It's no longer allowed. So apply for a visa. And the brother, he didn't even apply for his landing card as well because 72, 48, within 48 to 72 hours before you fly into Nigeria, you are supposed to apply for a landing card. Also, when you want to go, you also apply for the exit card. That this for non-Nigerians, for foreigners. He didn't do any of this. You just because someone promised you that your visa will be, you get your visa on the way. Or the system broke down. It's not their fault because if you have done that before he came to Nigeria, there was no way this was going to affect him. But maybe they might have treated him bad. Maybe it's in the way they addressed him. We're not there, but let's just say that. But accept responsibility. It was your mistake. Somebody told you that he was gonna fix everything, and you believed him and hop on the flight instead of verifying before jumping on your flight. And the people that boarded him, if according to the Federal Aviation Authority, any airline that flies in a passenger into Nigeria without a proper documentation, they actually get fined for that. They are gonna get fined. They're gonna summon them actually for doing that because it costs look at it. Actually, the guy is now doing a lot of negative PR. He's not focusing on where he got it wrong. He's focusing on the deported him. You're an African, doesn't you're a black man, black skin. You come to a country that you look like you doesn't mean that you should be given an express entry. You're not even a diplomat. Even diplomat will still get the same treatment until you get clearance. You should understand that we are trying to upgrade, so we are not going to bend the rules for anyone just because we want to appease you. Get your Senegalese or your Gambian passport. You have it. If you abandon it and use the American passport to fly in because you want to be, you say a certain privilege, it's not going to happen. Thank you, brother.
Hey, Azul, right? Go ahead. Azul, right? Unmute yourself. Azul, right? Z, unmute yourself. Okay. Go ahead, Yuya.
Yes, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, perfect. Okay, so I just want to add my 2 cents. I definitely agree that especially what we can deal with in the diaspora is when we approach Africa, we approach it like with what's established, which is like the tourism industry, business and tourism industry, which is established by Europeans. So we in diaspora often approach Africa like a destination, not in the sense of like a pilgrimage, like ancestral pilgrimage, but like as far as business or tourism, but not for like serious immigration. It's a rare individual case by case thing. So I definitely think there is a place to say like people who are coming to Africa have to understand that Africa is normal, like as any other part of the world. There are rules and regulations, and I think that because coming to Africa is more so established by the Europeans, like that's who established like the ground by which people come to Africa. And so there's already an industry by which Europeans come to Africa. They kidnap children. You see, they don't have to respect the laws because they, as sort of like a status beyond tourist or traveler because of their European status. So they kind of they treat Africa like this lawless playground, which we see. And unfortunately, even us in the diaspora can kind of follow in their footsteps unless we're very careful to have respect for the ground upon which we're walking and for the people who have already been in this land before us, who are receiving us. That being said, I understand that there's rules about passport, visa, crossing borders, wada, all of these things. However, I think we should be cognizant that passport, visa, the borders, the countries themselves, there was no such thing as Nigeria. 300 years ago, there was no such thing as Nigeria. There was no such thing as Egypt or Sudan, like as we see it today, There was no such thing as America, like as we see it today. And And now we say, no, you have your American passport, you have your Senegalese passport, you have to think about immigration, you have to, go to the embassy. All of this is favoring the post-colonial institution. Like everything which basically keeps slavery alive by a different name, everything which keeps colonialism alive by a different name, having passports and visas, that is part of it. So definitely, yes, we should be, respectful when we go to different countries. We shouldn't treat like, Nigeria as just some sort of like, we have to be aware when we are practicing white supremacy, especially when we enter into the ancestral space. But I definitely think we should have a conversation about how all of these things are post-colonial in the first place. And what was the final point I want to make?
Okay. Ozzy,
Yeah,
right. Go ahead.
and just finally, the other thing is we can't take for granted the way things are. Why is like if this was an ideal world, many African countries would already have programs by which Americans or other people in the diaspora, whether you're in India or Brazil or wherever, that there would be repatriation programs. And these we don't see these things because the governments themselves are not in our hands. These are all European puppet governments, and that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Ozzy, right. Unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
I hear you now. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, I had a phone call and I had exit myself out on accident. So what I wanted to say is we were watching the video and I was looking at what the guy was saying, like, things like, well, I'm African just like you. And so I was like, why are you being so entitled? You know what I'm saying? Because like from my understanding, like I've been talking with my friends that live in Lagos and they've talked to me about a lot of the stuff that's been going on, and that within like the last, I would say somebody said a year and a half, I would say within the last 2 years, they've mentioned that certain people that were able to travel for business to Lagos and to Nigeria have had restrictions. And some of that has been them coming and trying to exploit the labor of the people in Lagos. He particularly works in the entertainment business. So, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it. I just know from what you're showing on your channel, as well as like what I said, what my friends have told me. And so it's blasphemous to me for someone to feel so entitled to go to a place and to expect to just get in. Like, it seems like he did way more PR about this event and like all the clout behind it on social media, but he didn't really take the time to make sure that all his ducks was in a row and make sure that his visa and all those things were taken care of. And I feel like those are the first things you need to like make sure is okay. Like, you don't want to be in a situation where you get to a country that you don't live in and now you're being sent back. And I also feel like it's disingenuous because the way that it was put out and spun in the media was that he used the word deportation. And many of us know that deportation has a very like boisterous name right now with all of what's been going on in America. So for you to make it seem as if they just took you and didn't, you know what I'm saying? It was just too much. Like, he was denied entry, like you said. And the way he was going about it in the beginning of the video, and media and language is very important, he made it seem as if they harmed him. And so based on after we watched the video and we watched what other individuals and other influencers had to say about it, he blew it up way more than it needed to be. Yes, you were not allowed to gain access into the country, which, I mean, you didn't have a visa. So that's what happens. You can't just go to a country and just not follow their laws. But for him to make it seem as if he's like blackballing Nigeria, I'm very interested to see how it's going to be if they allow him to return to visit in the future after he's made this entire media campaign, making it seem like they harmed him when they didn't harm him. And that's all I have to say so far.
Okay. Guys, links in it. Go ahead, Wildflower.
Can I add, Dynasty? So basically, what I have noticed is that there is this idea that we don't have like rules like that we have to work with in Africa. And this is the kind of feel that I got from his attitude. Is very like, I'm African. We just can't operate the continent like that. There's going to be some standards to follow, especially at the airport, especially at ports when you're entering in and out of the country. I don't know what he was expecting. He didn't do enough preparation. He didn't really probably look into just turning up at the airport. I'm like, okay, I'm just here. That's just not how it's going to be. And then the other lady that had overstayed her visa, the other lady with the contact lenses. And I'm just like, the whole attitude, you would not behave like that in a European country or even the United States. So sometimes I think like a lot of our diaspora travelers, they come into Africa just expecting to be just a lawless land. Everybody's just doing whatever they want. And then, that's obviously an image problem we have with the continent. But then they're quickly given a wake-up call saying, you know what, there is rules here. You can't come here, overstay your visas, or you can't come here with the right paper. You don't have the right paperwork. So I really feel like, people need to realize that, the place that we come from, Nigeria, any place in Africa, it's actually, there is laws, there is things you have to follow, especially if you're an outsider. And you can tell from the video that he's very entitled in his tone. And even the other lady as well, with her problem as well, she's like, look how she was acting with these officials. Now, me as an African, I will never behave like that, especially people that work in government jobs. You do get not just our own black diaspora, but you get a lot of the white tourists as well misbehaving while they get to Africa. It's like, oh my God, I can do whatever I want. And then they're quickly surprised when you actually, the police is called on you, Yeah, that's it.
All right, Afridamus, go ahead, Afridamus.
Oh, thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I got a glimpse of that guy's story. That guy, he must be Gambian. I suspect it.
He says Senegalese. I think he says Senegalese. So he's
okay.
We'll just say Senegambian.
Oh, okay. So it's like everybody that's within the sound of my voice, especially most Africans, they don't have good travel ethics. I remember, I'll tell you a story. I have a cousin that one time I traveled with him to Canada, and we're at the border, they check the cars, and one of the officers, he was just joking with us, right? And this guy just took it out of proportion because the guy, for whatever reason, I think, and at the time he only had a green card, maybe that went over his head, thinking that's such a big deal. So long story short, he caused that officer to even delay us further. And the officer, when, started putting dog in the car, it was my car. We were sitting there and he started saying, oh, I hope you don't have anything in your car. I was like, man, you just got this man putting this wet dog in my car because you can't even take a little joke. So a lot of these guys, these things go over their head. From that point on, I have made it a duty not to travel with no African, not at all, because the thing is things get through their head. I carry the blue passport, the American passport. When I go to even Gambia, where I'm originally from, I travel as an American. I make sure I get all my ducks in a row.
Afridamus, do you have a Gambian passport though?
I do not.
Why?
I just don't. I got the blue passport. That's good enough. I mean.
But as far as traveling throughout ECOWAS,
I for the most part, I'm not very interested in going to many African countries, to be honest, but if I ever become interested, I'll probably, get that passport. I think that would be a good idea, to get the ECOWAS passport, because that way you don't have to deal with all that visa situation. But even when I travel to Gambia, I've seen in the line, people who are even from there, they would show this same attitude to the immigration officers. They would have a hard time. I'm saying this, I know most people will be like, man, why you act there like American? I walk by smoothly, no problem. I have everything, my ducks in a row. Sometimes they would throw stupid little jokes. I know it's stupid little jokes, but I just want to keep it pushing. I'm not in my ego. I pretend to smile and I just keep going. This guy, he flew in to Nigeria. He's not Nigerian. He's carrying an American passport and a visa is required. So you showing up, a lot of people make this mistake to say, oh, we are all black, we are all African. I mean, I get that, but they have rules in place. So to avoid all that, You just gotta follow the rules. You know, you don't have to, go to airports and argue with people. It would make it so much easier. It doesn't matter if you're African or not. Just get the visa and go in so that they don't have anything against you. But yeah, he's completely wrong. From what I've seen, he's wrong. And yeah, the Nigerian officials, they could have let it slide, but if they let him slide, somebody else could do it. So rules are rules. That's where I'm at with it.
Yuya, go ahead, Yuya. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, so I definitely hear the point that people should respect the rules, and if you want to avoid those problems, of course, just get the visa, just follow the rules. And we can talk all the day about how we should just follow the rules and everything will go okay, you know? And that's respectful enough. Of course, if you follow the rules, you're not going to be persecuted, ideally, but we should have a conversation. It's my opinion, right? We should have a conversation. What about these rules? Okay, the guy is completely wrong. Sure, like if he obeyed the rules, there wouldn't be a problem, there wouldn't be a video, we wouldn't have this conversation. Yes, so he's wrong. But what about the rules? Should we talk about the rules like they are absolute and that they are, correct or perfect? Because I think it is very illustrative. The way we talk about the rules is sort of like it is what it is. And it communicates to me that we as a people, like as African people, we don't really feel like we have a say as far as the authority. The authority exists, and whether we like it or not, the authority is there. And I didn't really hear anyone mention throughout the conversation, that local Nigerians are abused by Nigerian officials, whether police or who. It's not just Nigeria, it's all over Africa. I can't really speak for elsewhere in the world. But I think this is also important to speak about. Even in the case of the American woman, I think it's not right just to say, well, she didn't really have the decorum, because I heard in the way she described the way that someone spoke to her, it's very typical. Even local people in Africa get spoken to by African government officials like that, very inhumanely, and we think it's normal, isn't it? And it really shouldn't be normal. And it's like, okay, let's say my mother used to whoop me or slap me, and I grow up, I feel like it's my prerogative not to continue that. So with my child, I kind of learn more diplomatic ways of discipline, right? And I think we as Africans don't feel the same incentive when it comes to authority. We have accepted authority, it is what it is. They actually abuse us, and when we tell the newer generation, it just is what it is. But then we're complicit in that abuse when we do that. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if he's listening, someone please let him know. Next time, he shouldn't be, throwing, tenting that blue passport like that. Follow the rules. I mean, that's why he was given that passport, to show up talking about we are all African, just like the guy just said. I have seen even people who are Nigerians that have foreign passport who have tried this kind of things, even in Nigeria, that it's online. And these people themselves, they are from Nigeria. They were born there. But all I'm saying is travel etiquette would save you from all this. As somebody that travels around the world, different places that some might think is hostile, I receive, friendliness from them because of great travel etiquette. That's what it comes down to. Bottom line, yeah.
Sorry, you can finish your point.
Yeah, that's just where I'm at with it, and I will talk to you guys later.
All right, let me read these super chats first. Pape 5602, thank you for $5 holla. I'm Senegalese. I could tell you for sure that we are very kind, but masters at falsifying papers and breaking rules. Peaceful though, but grimy. Okay.
Yeah, can I just say that I agree with the gentleman that was on early, that just finished talking about airport etiquette is kind of missing. with our people. It could be just not even traveling within Africa. Like, I see how African families can be behaving at airports in Europe, because obviously this is where I'm based, coming with multiple things, having to open suitcases, and it just doesn't look good on us. It's just really being very understanding that, everything has to move at a pace, at an orderly way, that you will have a lot of people from our background at airports, not even within Africa, just really being just doing whatever. That's the thing. And obviously I love my people, but we can sometimes, we can make things worse for ourselves. How we conduct ourselves at airports, coming with 100 suitcases. You don't need all of that, because you got to think about others that are also being mindful about other people as well. And then obviously then we are traveling within our own continent. And then this guy turns up without the visa. I don't know how he thought that he could just pass through as if there's no rules at the Nigerian airports. You just do whatever you want. And then at times we do have people that work in our government jobs, like, at the airport, that can also have a bit of a power trip, that can sometimes speak a bit abruptly. But at the time, it's about, with the workers at the airport, it's like customer service skills is lacking there as well. Just the way you deal with the public. Sometimes people just get too high on the power. So they might speak in a tone that is not very helpful. But then again, if you're traveling within Europe as a Black person, then the workers of European descent will be rude to you. So then maybe there's other issues there that's going on. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
So I wanted to touch on what both of y'all said, as far as like the lady. I don't know exactly how things go. Like, I've had my own experiences in American airports. I hate traveling by airplane. If I can help it, I would prefer to just drive, but I know that's not possible if I travel out of the country. So as a person that has had issues in the airport, flying through Atlanta, my biggest thing with dealing with issues is to stay as calm as possible. Because like with all the like TSA type stuff, or like them checking our bags and things like that, like I don't want to be flagged as a terroristic threat. That's the first thing I'm thinking about. Now, from my understanding on how I operate, like if they're being nasty with me, there's ways that you can give people, like there's nonverbal communication cues that you can give people to know, let them know you mean business. You don't have to, just because somebody else is yelling at you or being, in a sense, verbally abusive to you, that doesn't mean you need to return it. And in that instance, when we were watching the video about the woman, like for me, the energy I got from her was Black elite entitlement. That's what I got. Not saying that nobody didn't, say something harmful to her, but she started the video off as in like she was entitled to stay in Nigeria because she was married to someone that lived there. And that's just wild. So she had already started off on a bad note of feeling as if she deserved, just because her existence, to be there after her visa had already expired. Now, from my experiences with dealing with men that potentially might be misogynistic or are just abusing their power, it looks better when you go to their supervisor if you're the calm and collected one and they're the ones yelling and doing all the extra stuff. Because then it's going to be a situation where you get an opportunity to complain. And that's what I normally do. When I have issues in the airport and I feel like I've been done wrong, whether it be they charging me more than they should for my luggage or whatever the circumstances is, because that's an issue I've had, I'm going to report it after I get through the gate. I'm not about to sit here and argue with you. I'm not going back and forth with you about it. Once I get through that gate, I'm finding out who your supervisor is. I'm finding out who's over what. And probably, most likely, while I'm waiting on my flight, I'm calling or I'm writing up my report that I'm going to email to whoever I need to email it to. By the time I touch down wherever I'm at, that report and all whatever I needed to report them individuals is going to be taken care of. But the whole point of it was I got through the gate. You can't get through the gate if you yelling at people, getting into it with them, whatever. Now, the whole thing with him asking for her phone, I don't really understand what that was about. I guess he didn't want to be recorded.
No, for the most part in Africa, you can't record government officials or police or none of that. So they're going to ask for your phone to delete it. You can't. Yeah, you can't do that.
Okay, so see, I didn't even know that. So I'm glad, Dynasty, you said something. So she's violating the law that they have. Like, if you can't do this legally, then you shouldn't be doing this, period. Like, and like I said, in that instance, when she first started the video, she already went in with a sense of entitlement. She didn't come into the situation with like being aware of her surroundings. Just because you're melanated and you are married to somebody in another country, you still have to follow their rules. And when it comes to dealing with stuff in the airport, I would say government officials are way more sensitive about anything going on in the airport than they are anywhere else. So I just feel like there's a way that you can handle things. I'm not trying to minimize her situation. I don't know all of what transpired, but I just feel like there could be ways that people should have like a mindset and have a protocol to help keep themselves safe so they can make it to their destination and they don't have to get into it with somebody unnecessarily. That's all I have to say.
All right, go ahead, Willie.
I
Mute
was
yourself. Go ahead.
curious, what was the reason she was approached? Because that was the only part I didn't catch.
She was approached because she overstayed her visa.
And so it got pulled when she went through security?
I don't know, Willie. She overstayed her visa, bro. She got caught at the airport.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know, if you're going to be traveling abroad, you want to make sure your paperwork is right. When your paperwork is right, though, there really is no reason to have those levels of interactions. Like, you just go along with whatever the program is. I remember one time I got stopped and the guys were like, yo, we want to check you. We can either do it right here or we can go in the back. So I'm like, all right, cool. We could do it right here. I started unbuckling my belt. I'm just about to drop my pants and they're like, whoa, wait. I'm like, yeah, I'll get butt naked right here.
Whoa. Hey, whoa. What?
I'm being honest, right? They like, yo, we can either check you right here or we can take you to the back. Nah, do it right here in front of everybody. So I start unbuckling, like I'm about to take off all my clothes. They like, whoa,
Man,
sir.
pause. Oh,
They like, sir,
what?
relax. And I'm like, all right, well. And then they asked me the questions that they asked me, like, well, why do you have this, that, and the third? And I told them, like, yo, I had some business. I'm headed back home, and this is what it is. You know, so I mean, when your paperwork is right, you really don't have a reason to have those issues. And that's one of the benefits of being a U.S. traveler. You get that TSA pre-approved. Now, that's not recognized in every country, right? But you are on record saying, yeah, he's pre-approved in America. They've gone through his whole background. He's filed paperwork with the feds. Like, he's good, you know, and you don't have those problems.
Cool. Go ahead. Wale, then I'll pass it back to you. Go ahead, Wale.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Wale. Go ahead.
Okay, Donna. Thank you. The lady, I think she feels so much entitled because she's married to a Nigerian. That doesn't give her the rights. Like that because her visa, she got overstayed, and they try to delay her from boarding her flight. You know, she has to also understand that this in a foreign land, she's in another country, so a lot of privileges she enjoy in her country, she's not gonna have it there. You are not a citizen of that place, so you can be treated as a human and respected. That's fine. The way they talk to you is not good. They were not professional. But at the same time, you should be calm, gentle, like Dana, you said. Your aim just try as much as possible to be cool, solve the issue with them. So you jump on your flight and go home. The more you try to put up a fight and drama, the more those guys are gonna delay you. The more they're gonna delay you because you are wrong. You are illegally living in the country, and that's a crime, or you committed there. So try and sort your shit with them. Then you go home. It's unnecessary trying to make the drama. Like we said, the same thing was applicable to the other guy. Even Nigerians who denounce their Nigerian citizenship and come with foreign passport, they still have to apply for visa. They don't just come to, I'm a Nigerian, my dad is Nigerian, or my mom is Nigerian. They will never allow you. You don't have any ID, you don't have a passport. Even with your ID, they will not allow you as a Nigerian to at the airport to go in, except with passport to prove passport is the only identity that proves you are a citizen of that place you said you are from. Without, if you present an ID, they will never allow you. where they're gonna stamp your entry and exit from. So we should try and do things uh, properly. I mean, African countries, so many African countries are trying to improve on our airport, and also also they should try and work on how the employees, the government officials at the airport conduct themselves. We need to drop some. Sometimes they kind of being abusive, you know. They just have to work on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Yuya. Unmute yourself, Yuya. Okay. You want to say something, Willie?
I was gonna say, I think an element of it is, because she was American, right?
Yeah.
I think an element of it is in America, like rights are a big thing, right? Not only for citizens, but people who aren't citizens, right? So a lot of times we may expect the same treatment that is given here in America. And when you go to those other countries, unfortunately, sometimes you find out they're not dealing with you the same way that we deal with people who are in similar situations. You know what I'm saying? So that may have been one of her reasons for kind of escalating it, thinking she had a level of rights and things that just don't apply when you go to some of those countries.
Um, can I just add something as well? I really feel like the way the way that gentleman did that video, it seemed like Nigeria were the ones in the wrong. You know, the tone is that they deported me. I've been promoting Nigeria and I love the country. But in the end, it was him that didn't have a visa when he turned up, you know? How are you going to go a respectful country? I know people don't think African countries deserve some kind of like acknowledgement that these are real nations, they have real rules. Yeah, you've got an American passport, but you should have read like you as American people, they need visas to go to Nigeria. He should have known I don't turn up at any country without a visa, especially if they require visas. It doesn't even matter if it's a country within Africa. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to turn up because I'm black and I'm African. And, you know, it's just, for me, it just feels very disrespectful towards Nigeria. Like, I'll just show myself as another someone from West Africa and they should let me through. If that was the case, other Europeans will go to other people's nations and be like, oh, we're all Europeans, let me through. It doesn't work like that, especially when you're moving internationally. And I think this really puts him in a bad light, you know, like the way he showed some of his character, this entitlement. That's kind of very common among Westerners, whether they're black, white, you know, that they feel this sort of like if they come to Africa or Asia, you know, these places should just roll out the red carpet. I could never go to any European nation and be like, let me through, you know, don't you know I support your nation. And, you know, I will never turn up. Even here, any airport I go to in the world, I am in my humblest mood. I don't want any problems. I just want to be let through. And sometimes you might deal with a bit of an attitude. And it's not just African airport workers, it's airport workers all around the world. They're looking for opportunities to make your life difficult. And I'm going to be on my best behavior to get through. And what I noticed from those two examples, they were not really on that best behavior. Anyway, that's my point.
That's one of the things about having that US passport though. Like you typically, more often than not, don't have any of those issues. Like when I've traveled abroad, I've never gone anywhere with a visa. Like my US passport pretty much said everything that needed to be said at the gate. They may ask me, what are you here for? I'm vacationing. Like, and you really don't have problems after that. But yeah, that's not something that is common to be required when you're traveling with that US passport. It is a pretty powerful tool.
This is what I was gonna say. The thing that stuck out to me the most about his video was he was saying he's obsessed with Nigeria. He has all this love for Nigeria. Now, when we use the word obsession, that's a big thing. Like, so if I can't speak for, I'm not the government there, but if I was to like know who this guy is or look him up or something like that, and I see this video of him saying he's obsessed and then he don't have his paperwork when he gets there, for me, that would be a red flag. Because like, why are you so obsessed to be here, but you're not making sure that your documentation is up to par? Like, not saying that he had any intentions to seek harm to anyone in Nigeria, but considering what he was going to do, he said something about he's going to do something with an orphanage or something like that. You need to make sure your stuff is prepared. Like I said earlier, I feel like he was way more concerned about the publicity of traveling as an influencer to Nigeria, opposed to actually being respectful of and making sure that he had what he needed. And I've heard this in the past. Like, I've been getting on one of my friends in Lagos about this. Why are we trusting our homeboys to get our paperwork for us? Like, not saying that your homeboy can't get the paperwork done from you, but even me just listening to what my friend's going through, like right now he's trying to get his nonprofit registered, and he been trying to let his homeboy handle it, and it's been like almost a year and he still ain't got it registered. So I'm like, why won't you hire somebody professionally to do this? Like, it just seems like this is something that people try to do. They try to allow their friends or somebody they know to handle something, and it doesn't seem like it's getting handled. So that's what was my take on what was said.
And the thing about American passports should be able to give you all these privileges. I think that's slightly a little bit, other people that hold other passports might feel a certain type of way. And I understand it's just the way the world is at the moment, but we're just going to treat everybody equally. My brother just went to New York. He's got a British passport. And when he arrived in New York a couple of weeks ago, they put him aside and they wanted to talk to him. And he went for a holiday, and it's kind of like my brother is always traveling. He's traveling all over the world. He's like, I've never had any issues at any airports, like to be put aside and for them to talk to me, why are you coming here? Like, I'm only coming here to visit on a holiday with a UK passport. I'm not here to look for work. But he was like, the Americans were not respecting his British passport. And when he came back to London, which is the first time in his life, they asked him way too many questions. And normally you just come through. So it just goes to show that sometimes it's just not your day, or it's just sometimes, there's various rules to be followed now, especially at airports, especially at this time where everybody's kind of concerned about security and safety, For him to be just that disrespectful, like, I'm going to turn up without a visa and I'm going to show my face, I'm an influencer, they should know me, we're all Africans. And then I think Nigeria at this time, they were in the right. And the way that he's kind of like trying to not take accountability, and it's like, they should have let me in. I'm African. Nah, I'm not buying that.
Some people, even in Nigeria, actually thinks that those with U.S. passport actually have free visa entry into Nigeria, but they don't know it's a lie. Most European who are coming to Nigeria, whether it doesn't matter, once you have the European passport and you don't have visa, Nigeria don't have visa free to your place, you're gonna pay for visa to enter Nigeria. That's why it is rules of reciprocity. Reciprocity. I give you, you give me. If you don't give me, they're not gonna give you. But some of these guys who just talk because they perceive their government is always being on the wrong side. But this time, your government was 100% correct and right in what they did. You know?
No, I support the government for doing that. I support the people that were actually following the rules, because a lot of the times we are shown as, the media, like, oh, African, people, you can just do whatever you want when you turn up at that there is no structure. There's no way of actually doing things, and things are not followed up. But they actually did what was right. And I think he should reflect on that. He should be saying, actually, things in Africa are improving, People are trying to make, organizations work. They're trying to secure the nation for everybody. And I think he wasn't being respectful in terms of like, I'm just going to turn up and not have the correct paperwork. And because I am who I am, I'm just going to be allowed in. No. And I think it's just not very Pan-African of him just to put Nigeria on blast like that. Yeah.
I think that's a part of the kind of implied power of being an American tourist, right? Most countries do appreciate our tourist dollar. So they don't want these stories going back anywhere, right? To have us say, all right, I'm not going to Nigeria. I'm not dealing with that. Like I didn't have a visa when I went to Ghana. So it's kind of, for me as someone that has traveled, I'm like, oh, you have to have a visa to go to
When did you go to Ghana?
2016, either 16 or 17.
You didn't have a visa?
Nah. I've never had a visa when I travel. I don't have a visa when I go to the Netherlands, when I've gone to South America. Like, it's kind of implied, like he's got a U.S. passport. 9 times out of 10, he's
Well,
not
no,
trying to stay.
but you need a visa to enter Ghana unless you're going during dirty December. Then they sometimes make it visa free with a U.S. passport.
Yeah, nah, I didn't. Or if I did, my wife, filed whatever for me. But yeah, nah, we just showed our passports and it was like, keep it moving. hmm And
Guys, link.
I also do the TSA pre-check. So with the TSA pre-check, that's more of a benefit in America. Like you walk right past the TSA line and everybody standing on line looks at you like, who is he? And they just sweep you right to the front. You know what I mean? And the pre-check is not even that expensive. So that's kind of a benefit too. Like you're well documented. Like you literally have to do an interview and answer questions just to get the pre-check. So it's almost like the mindset of someone that has that is, I'm well documented. Like everything's in the international Interpol systems. Like, so yeah. But I wouldn't defend the way he handled that situation. That's never gonna be a win. Like I said, when they pulled me to the side, they were like, we can search you here in the back. Search me right here. I take it all off right now. Whoa, 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 sir. Wait, stop. We just want to know, so you pull out some money and we want to know where you're coming from, what you're doing. Like, yeah, this is what it was, blah, blah, blah. And so they were trying to check, and I was like, all right, well, wait. I'm not trying to sit here and deal with y'all running me through all these hoops and miss my flight. If anything comes back wrong, I'm gonna be in the air for another 4.5 hours. Y'all can get me as soon as I land in JFK, but don't make me miss my flight if I haven't done anything. And they just pretty much said, all right, we believe you. Go ahead. You know what I mean? It's all about how you handle the situation. So I definitely wouldn't defend how that situation was handled. Like, nah, you gotta learn to take it easy.
All right, guys, we'll go ahead. We'll take a quick commercial break, then we'll close out.
Danful offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshi traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit downfall.africa.
Go ahead, Will. You want to ask something?
Nah, I mean, I would just say it's kind of unfortunate because with a lot of the political news going on in Nigeria and a story like this, it may cause someone to say, all right, well, I'll just go to Senegal instead, or I'll go to Kenya if I just want to see the continent. So it can be, no matter how right the government or the agency is, the overall, I do believe that there are higher ups that are kind of like, we should have just not even had that be a thing, right? So it's a weird situation, but when you're traveling, the term goes when in Rome. Like you have to deal with, how do people deal with you there? So it's an unfortunate situation on both sides. I'll just say that.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Mirror Search for Haru. Peace.